This is the Kindy Rockstars Podcast, Season 4. Bringing you incredibly talented singers, artists, creators, and producers in the genre of children's music. I'm your host, Patrick Adams. Each episode will feature songs, albums, videos, or live performances, along with great stories from the artists themselves. Kindy Rockstars Season 4 is proud to be supported and sponsored by Waltmania Public Relations, serving the family entertainment community for more than 20 years. And now, on with the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kindy Rockstars. I'm really happy to have back on the show Matt and Kier from the Relative Minors. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hey, Patrick, how you doing?
Thank you for having us back.
Great. Absolutely. And everybody, go check out Season 2, Episode 10 to hear more about the Relative Minors story, how they got into making music for kids. But let's catch up. What have you guys been up to since we last talked?
Yeah, we've been writing lots of music. We've been having fun, playing lots of shows. We got a puppy.
Yes.
Who has joined us?
Yeah, it's been just crazy times. We both have teaching jobs, and we make albums kind of in the summer for the past 3 years. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind, and we have 2 children who are now 7 and 5 who are in the mix as well. They come into the studio with us, and they make a couple appearances on our most recent album, actually. So that's a new thing to have children in the studio, as it kind of adds a nice, appropriate dimension to making children's music, I guess.
Absolutely. So the new album we're going to talk about is called Minor Third. And so, yeah, tell us a little bit about the making of this album and everything that inspired it.
Yeah. So this album was really fun because if you've heard our origin story, we started the Relative Minors quite a number of years ago, and we originally wrote. So our first 2 albums were our back catalog songs. When we finally had money to put together to record, we used all songs that were previously written. So Minor Third is really our first album of fresh new songs. There's only 1 song on this album that was previously written.
Yeah, so it was a completely different experience to come at it as kind of a blank slate, and it allowed us to be a little bit more intentional with some kind of overarching themes, some moods, some instruments.
Yeah, and it was also a bit of a pandemic album. So a lot of the themes in the album kind of touch on some of the experiences that we were having, being home and maybe not feeling happy all the time. And some of the songs and the lyrics reflect that.
So how have the live shows been going?
It's been wonderful to be able to play shows again, because there was a long time where we couldn't do that. And we're both educators, so we can't give a lot of time to touring, but we do a lot of weekends playing library shows, or we played at the bowling alley on New Year's Eve this year. We're playing a really big festival, Canada Day this year. Lots of really exciting shows coming up. We just played in Vancouver last weekend, 2 weekends ago, at the Children's Festival there. Yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah.
You kind of get to crisscross Canada with your live shows. That's cool.
Wow.
You get a chance to play down in the States any?
No, we haven't had the opportunity yet, but we would absolutely be willing.
We did play on Susie Shelton's show, which is in New York City. So
There you go. That's close.
We're here. You don't mind me plugging another?
No. I've had Susie on the show before. She's great.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So back to the album. So we're doing an album feature today. The album is called Minor Third. We're going to be featuring 5 songs from the album. But any other sort of, you mentioned a theme. What kind of theme do you is kind of prevalent on this album?
Yeah, so the very first song is called Today's My Day, and it starts out with this character, and she just feels like the world is her oyster. Nothing could go wrong, right? And as the album progresses, there starts to be some clouds and some rain, and we kind of touch on the fact that things won't always go our way, and what do we do when things happen, that's out of our control. Because sometimes we can't always spin it and say, we're going to be happy no matter what. Sometimes it's okay to be sad. So that obviously is a theme that came out of the pandemic as well. And a lot of kids were kind of struggling with that because, sometimes we can be a bit dismissive with feelings, it needs to be happy and positive all the time. And I think there's a movement, sweeping across children's music that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to have big feelings.
Yeah.
So the album, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was about to say I'm definitely seeing more and more of that. As they kind of try to touch on the wide spectrum of feelings and emotions that kids have, it totally makes sense to have songs to fit all moods.
Yeah. So we did kind of we didn't set out to write songs about particular things necessarily, but those were, we kind of come at it from an approach of this is something that we're thinking about and it works its way organically into the songs. So you'll see in the songs we talk about, there's themes of disappointment and perseverance. And then we kind of have multiple layers as well. Like we also have themes of thinking about classic. We wanted to incorporate more classic stories. So we did a song that we'll talk about that has some fables, a song that we'll talk about that has some nursery rhymes. And we also have one song that we're not going to talk about that was based on like 80s TV show theme kind of concept. So classic kid stuff from traditional and maybe a little bit more recent. And then finally, the last thing that we wanted to incorporate in a few different places is the number 3, it being our third album, minor third. So we have a song about that, and we worked it in a couple other places as well.
Very cool. All right, so we've started talking about Today's My Day. So anything else before we actually play this song for everyone?
Yeah, so this song, I am a big fan of musicals, Broadway musicals. And this song, I wrote this song to really feel like an opening number of a musical.
And we also, I think, showed our influences a little bit. We've been told it has a bit of a Mr. Blue Sky feel at the start. We're big Electric Light Orchestra fans and a bit of a Beatles thing with the Mellotron and things like that. So can't hide from your influences.
No, I do like a little ELO and the Beatles, of course. All right, well, let's play the song. Here it is, Today's My Day by the Relative Minors.
Woke up this morning on the right side of the bed with the song in my head. The world is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and it's spinning my way. Nothing's in my way. Today is my day in a relatively major way. Outside, the sky's the only thing that's blue. Doodly-doo. The sun is shining and its spotlight shines on me, and it's shining my way. But it won't shine all day. I know that some days the sun sets and the sky turns gray. My luck will change in a relatively minor way down, way down, way down, but not today. Today is my day. Today is my day. Today is my day. Today is my day.
song's over.
And that was Today's My Day. All right, the next song we're going to talk about is called Butterfly Papillon. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so Matt and I are both educators and we both speak French, and we're up in Canada where French is French and English are dual languages. And so Butterfly Papillon, we thought would be a really great exercise to write a bilingual song. And it also fits that theme of transformation and growth, as a butterfly does. And we loved experimenting with French style sounds and instrumentation.
Yeah, we actually, it was a French song before it was a song about a butterfly. The mood of it was really based on, again, Michel by the Beatles. It's their kind of like French pastiche. And then also lots of other French Canadian type songs, like Pierre Lapointe is a really great French Canadian artist, and others as well. And so we were really trying to, and we don't really lean heavily into playing with different genres as much. We like to have kind of a central sound, but we do like to lean towards different genres. And this was our chance to kind of let loose and see what we could do with a French. We did just a dun 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 dun, and so we just started playing around with the chord progression, and we had the idea to include some harmonized woodwinds, which you hear like a clarinet, and we had an oboe as well, which you hear in that style of music sometimes, and had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, how do you say enjoy in French?
Vos plaisir.
Amusez-vous, something like that.
Amusez-vous. Butterfly Papillon by the Relative Minors.
Butterfly, oh flutter free, won't you flitter close to me? Tell me where you've been today. Papillonner, mon papillon, magnifique transformation. Où étais-tu aujourd'hui? Just a lily on a leaf, a hungry caterpillar will eat and eat. He makes his chrysalis and begins to sleep. A butterfly he will be. Butterfly, oh flutter free, won't you flitter close to me? Tell me where you've been today. Papillonner, mon papillon, magnifique transformation. Où étais-tu aujourd'hui? Un petit œuf sur une feuille, une chenille affamée va manger. Puis une chrysalide et il décide. A butterfly he will be. Butterfly, oh flutter free, won't you flitter close to me? Tell me where you've been today. Papillonner, mon papillon, magnifique transformation. Où étais-tu aujourd'hui?
And that was Butterfly Papillon. All right, the third song we're going to talk about on minor third is Third Time's a Charm. So tell us about Third Time's a Charm.
Yeah, so obviously this one was made to order. It was made for the album, this being our third album, and this being the third track on the third album in 3/4 time, which is called Third Time's the Charm. So a little bit of hyper meta something going on there. We wanted to write a song about the number 3. We knew having a song that was explicitly about the number 3 in some way would be the thing to do for this spot on this album.
Mhm.
And I thought about it for a long, long time. There's already like children's music. You've got Sesame Street. There's great songs about the number three. There's
Schoolhouse Rock.
three is a magic number. Like there's what else can you
Classic
do?
song.
So I thought, and it took me, I think, probably like a year to come up with an idea for how to make something original about the number three. No joke. I know I wanted to do it in 3/4 time. So I was beginning with a musical concept.
I think it was me that actually came up with Third Time's the
Well,
Charm.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
So yeah, as I said, I have my background is in like indie and ska music. So I started playing around with a concept in 3/4, but like kind of a ska feel. So like an offbeat 3/4 thing, which lent itself to some interesting rhythms. And so the music of the song started coming together. And then finally, Kier suggested, like, why don't we just do Third Time's the Charm, as like we were just playing around with ideas. And I kind of ran with that, and we started just playing the chords out, singing the chorus together, and came out with a good chorus. And so all that was left to write was to write some verses. And so it seems like a great opportunity to tell some stories in the verses about things that don't work out the first 2 times, and then finally the 3rd time. So it was a lot of fun to put those lyrics together. Originally, I thought about writing it about some historical figures. I'm a historian, so I had some great lines about Julius Caesar and Amelia Earhart and things like that. But I felt like I was just twisting their story too much and they both had kind of tragic ends as well. I decided the best idea was to just make up stories from scratch. So we made up these 3 characters, a guy who's entering a dance competition, a guy who's trying to learn how to fly. I assume some like wooden wings or something like that. And then a basketball player that try things twice and then maybe give up, or maybe try that 3rd time, and that 3rd time being the charm. And musically, I was thinking about this afterwards. Musically, the song has kind of an interesting thing going on too, because the first 2 sections are these verses, which have a very kind of syncopated, almost off kilter feel. So the first 2 things they mimic the idea a little bit. They're a little bit off kilter. The chords are actually twisting in a particular way, going from a minor to a major chord on the same note. And then finally, the chorus, the 3rd section is very resolute and sing along and
almost sounds a bit like an Irish bar song kind of thing.
Yeah, we kind of realized afterward too that 2 of the characters I gave Irish sounding names, and then the chorus has like a sing along kind of 3/4, and also 3rd time's a charm, like Luck of the Irish kind of thing. So we're kind of hoping it becomes the new St. Patrick's Day theme song or something like that.
Gotta think big, absolutely. All right, well, let's check it out. 3rd Time's a Charm by the Relative Minors.
Simon O'Malley wanted to fly. He went down to the valley and gave it a try. First time at takeoff, he made a mistake, and the next time he fell in the lake. Leroy McGiffin longed to place first in the dance competition, but he was the worst. He practiced and learned all the moves, and the next time he still didn't improve. Third time's the charm. Everybody tries it twice, then sounds the alarm, but the 3rd time's the charm. Wanda K. Newman wasn't quite sure there were too many spectators looking at her. 3-pointers weren't so routine to her yet, but the 3rd time, nothing but net. 3rd time's a charm. Everybody tries it twice, then sounds the alarm, but the 3rd time's a charm. Then sounds the alarm, but the third time's the charm.
That was Third Time's a Charm. All right, the next song we're going to talk about is called Pencil Sharpener. So tell us about Pencil Sharpener.
Yeah, so I'll just jump in here and say Matt had a really good introduction to this song when we played at the Vancouver Children's Festival, and maybe you can say that here on the podcast.
Sure. I mean, before I talk about Pencil Sharpener, I'm not sure if you're going to play the little introduction that we put kind of as a between track between Third Time's a Charm and Pencil Sharpener. It's actually my dad doing a little listen to this record and turn the page when you hear this sound type of thing, like a classic treasury fairy tale kind of thing. Anyways, that's you can include that whether if you want, but
his father's a Brit. It's not a fake accent.
Yeah. That's kind of nice. But anyways, so Pencil Sharpener, it began with it was lockdown days. We were home with our kids doing lots of crafts and things. And our oldest son, who I guess was probably about 4 at the time, was working on a craft with pencil crayons. He was trying to sharpen that pencil crayon. But as you know, it takes a little while. It takes a little bit of patience. It sometimes breaks once you think you have it sharp and things like that. So he was getting a little bit frustrated. And then I winkingly said to JJ, JJ, you got to sharpen that pencil for a long time before you see the point.
So the song originated out of a dad joke.
Yeah. So, and then he, I think, continued working on his craft, but I wandered off and started writing a song and came up with that chorus. You got to sharpen the pencil for a long time before you see the point. You got to move the broom around the room if you want to clean up the joint. And so we don't tend to have like very moralizing songs. We don't think there's anything wrong with that, of course. Lots of great kindy music does. But this song, we found like it had a very clear message. So obviously we had to kind of roll with that. Very, perseverance, stick to it kind of thing. And it also gave us an opportunity to tell some stories in the verses about characters, just like the previous song, characters who just have to work hard to succeed, just have to kind of stick to it. And that clear moral made me think of classic fables. So that's what we worked into the verses of the songs. We tell the story of the little red hen who's baking bread and trying to get her friends to help. Nobody wants to help. And then she says, you got to sharpen that pencil for a long time before you see the point. And then we have the story of the tortoise and the hare, and the story of a less well-known fable of the crow and the pitcher.
That was my right.
Which Kirsten's.
This is Matt's song, but he could not come up with the last fable. And I did a little bit of research and found the fable of the crow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I love that moment of instant inspiration where you had to immediately go grab it and totally relate.
Sure. So I worked hard on the song. I wandered off. I worked on it. And now I see the point because I'm here talking to you, Patrick, about the song.
And everyone else will see the point too, because we're going to play it right now. Here it is, Pencil Sharpener by the Relative Minors.
Welcome to the Relative Minors Treasury of Classic Fables. When you hear this sound, turn the page.
6 or 7 years ago in a barnyard by the bay, the hen was put in charge again 'cause the farmer was away. The food supply was running low, but the hen knew what to do. She'd bake a batch of barley bread with the help of a friend or two. She asked the cat to help, but he just meowed and shook his head. But the hen was having none of that. And this is what she said.
You gotta sharpen the pencil for a long time before you see the point. You gotta move the broom around the room if you wanna clean off the joint. You might be just a little cat, but before you go have fun, you gotta bake that bun till it's done.
Once there was a turtle who moved at a turtle's pace. I really don't know why he asked a rabbit for a race. The rabbit cried, "I'll cross the line before he ties his shoes." He ran so far ahead he thought he'd take a little snooze. But while he was asleep, that turtle ambled up ahead, slowly crossed the finish line, and this is what he said.
You gotta sharpen the pencil for a long time before you see the point. You gotta move the broom around the room if you wanna clean up the joint. You might be just a little hair, but before you go have fun, you gotta run, run, run.
The crow was feeling parched and perched upon a parapet. She looked round for a drink with which her whistle could be wet. She hadn't yet begun to fret, she spied a little jar. She stuck her beak into its lid, but the water was too far. She grabbed a pile of pebbles and then one by one she dropped the pebbles in the pitcher till the water reached the top.
She said you gotta sharpen the pencil for a long time before you see the point. You gotta move the broom around the room if you wanna clean up the joints. You might be just a little crow, but before you go have fun, just take it one by one.
You gotta run, run, run.
You gotta bake that bun till it's done.
And that was Pencil Sharpener. All right, the last song we're going to feature here is called Contrary Mary. So tell us about this one.
Yeah, so we had talked about that minor third was mostly original music. Contrary Mary is the only song that was actually written about 10 years before. We had it in our back pocket. I did a basic write of this song featuring fairy tale characters, nursery rhyme characters, and I thought it was really catchy, but it just didn't fit the album that we were working on at first, and it also wasn't a finished write, and I'm not sure why we put it in the back pocket, but we did for whatever reason, and we brought it out for this album, and we both kind of looked at it with a lot more experience. After, having 10 years of experience doing some songwritings, we looked at it in a more critical way and gave it some really significant upgrades.
Yeah, so it had been, we had a very sloppy demo from a long time ago. So we listened to it again and we thought this has some great structure to it. But the way we were doing it before wasn't really working. So we, since we had 8 songs of a 9-song album down by this point, we kind of knew what the album was going to entail. So we took the opportunity to punch it up and basically throw everything that we had into this one. It has basically a mini orchestra. It has a string quartet. It has a woodwind section. It has a brass section. And then it has the drums and the upright bass and harpsichord as well. So we made just kind of a cool little Baroque pop tune out of it. And we think it came together really nicely and captures that nursery rhyme kind of childhood whimsical mood. And we got to play around with the sound of Humpty Dumpty falling off the wall at that one point.
Lots of alliteration in this song.
The fiddlers 3, we have a nice little 1, 2, 3. Again, the number 3, a little 1, 2, 3 on the violin to mimic that. Just really a lot of fun to put together.
We also got to work with members of our local symphony, which was really cool to see them play, and to have them play our stuff was just unreal.
Nice. All right, well, let's check it out. Here is Contrary Mary by the Relative Minors.
stores sell out of silver bells, are the cockle shells sold out too? Or maybe you're just through telling people how it grew. Jack be nimble, I know you're quick, but how did you earn that name? Is leaping over candlesticks your favorite parlor game? It's strange claim to fame, hopping over an open flame. I'd like to know why Mary was quite contrary, and why Jack jumped over the candlestick. Oh, Humpty Dumpty, tell me why you were sitting on that wall. And old King Cole, why are you such a merry old soul? Humpty Dumpty's in a slump, he's had an eventful fall. I've always thought an Eggman really shouldn't climb on a wall. I'm not even surprised a bunch of horses couldn't patch you up at all. Old King Cole, you merry soul, you seem to have found the key to always being cheerful with your fiddlers. 1, 2, 3. Tell us of their fee, and if they'll come with me to Mary's house for tea. I'd like to know why Mary was quite contrary, and why Jack jumped over the candlestick. Oh, Humpty Dumpty, tell me why you were sitting on that wall. And old King Cole, why are you such a merry old soul? I'd like to know. 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 Somebody tell me. I'd like to know.
That was Contrary Mary. All right, so that brings our song feature to a close, but this is a really good, solid album. You got a few more songs on it. If you want to briefly kind of go over the other songs before we let people know where they can find it and connect with you guys.
Sure. So, yeah, we have a couple more songs on the album. And if you want to check that out, anywhere you listen to music, Spotify, iTunes, we have a website, therelativeminors.ca. One of the songs that you'll hear is Broken Dictionary. And like I mentioned before, Pencil Sharpener came out of a dad joke. Well, this one came out of a few different dad jokes.
This was an entire song of dad jokes. It was one of my favorites.
Yeah, the kids really like this one. It's about miscommunication if you want to be a little bit serious about it, but it's not a serious song. It goes something like, why do they call it what's the first one? Why do they call it I can't even remember the lyrics. Why do they call it a bulldog? It doesn't look like a cow, and all this sort of thing. And it's just silly. We needed one just wacky song. So
well, it kind of called out some of the illogical nature of the English language in some words. That's what cracked me up.
Yeah, for sure. Misnomers.
Yeah. We have a couple of dancey tunes. Adventure Crew is really, we wanted to write a theme song for, an adventure TV show, and that was what Adventure Crew was. And Dancy's Clouds Away, really fun dancey song, get you up and moving.
So on topic with the kind of acknowledging that hard times will come, and there's not always a solution. So all you can do is kind of be there and maybe do a little bit of dancing, but to try to weather the storm of the clouds.
That's right. And our last song is called Tomorrow. And we really wanted to sandwich the album with today and tomorrow is another day. And it also has that musical feeling to it. It's it really pairs well with the first song. It has a lot of the same kind of themes that come out of it and instrumentation. And it's really just a continuation of this cycle that tomorrow, comes with lots of opportunities and hope and joy and all of those things.
Yeah, today didn't necessarily go how we expected when we said today's going to be my day, but that's okay. We'll try it again tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, this was a really great album. I enjoyed all the songs on it. So how can people find and connect with you guys?
Yeah, we love to connect. If you're on Instagram, we are the Relative Minors Band. That's probably where we do most of our socials. We have a website, therelativeminors.ca, where you can purchase albums that will be mailed to you if you're still into buying CDs. If you stream, we're on every streaming platform.
Yep, YouTube. Have some funny videos on there.
Yeah.
Hopefully more coming soon.
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, it was wonderful to have you guys back on the show. Thank you so much for coming on, and best of luck with this new album. And I hope to talk to you guys again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.